All right, everybody, it's Therese Paler. I'm here with the rest of the A-team for what turns out is our final assignment of the year. Chiefs lost today to the New England Patriots in the divisional round of the AFC playoffs, 27-20. And hey, we're paid to give opinions. These guys have got it. So Vahe, start us off, man. Tell us a little bit about your big takeaway from this game.
Well, look, they did some un-Chiefs-like things, and then the things that they did that were Chiefs-like worked against them. The case in point, I think a lot of the pivot point of the game hinged on a couple of things. One, just they lost the turnover battle. It was only one turnover, but they didn't get it. That was crucial. Niall Davis had it, and the Chiefs couldn't force one. Brady was almost untouched other than the late hit. But the other thing was the Chiefs got into this little lull of playing field position ball, punting the ball twice inside New England territory or in the second quarter. Okay, they're going to keep them pinned. They pinned them at the 2. Well, you're not pinned if you go 98 yards, and that drive that changes the game in every way. So they failed to take advantage of opportunities. They failed to really create any opportunities, and they couldn't overcome not having a solid, sound Jeremy Maclin physically. That was just too much for their offense. They don't have enough other juice offensively.
You're right. They really lack juice without Maclin. And you said a couple things that are interesting, Blair. I think you can get into them. Specifically, this offense without Maclin. Them kind of not having that juice with him there. And also, tell me how the defense did against Tom Brady.
Not so much. Not so much. But to riff a little bit off of what Vahe said, it's not just Maclin. I mean, having Maclin gone was a big blow, but not having Justin Houston. Right. And missing that pass rush. He only played a handful of plays and obviously was just not ready to go with a hyperextended knee. And we probably won't mention, he won't get a lot of mention, but Spencer Ware on the offensive side didn't play at all. And so where that takes me is I'm always learning about injury reports. You know, I'm watching the Patriots injury report this week, and all these guys are questionable. Yeah. Gronk is questionable. Edelman's questionable. Donta Hightower's questionable. Well, and then for the Chiefs, Macklin's questionable. Houston, all these guys questionable. Well, the Chiefs guys really were questionable. Yeah. Patriots guys all contributed, played, and they were fine. And I'll tell you what, a turning point. You mentioned the Niall Davis fumble. That was a big play. Another big play was when Frankie Hammond returns a punt, 19 yards, sets up the Chiefs at the 36-yard line. It's only 7-3 at that point. They go 3 and out, and have to punt the ball back. And I thought that was a damaging moment for the Chiefs.
It's kind of hard to, well, it's not hard, but like it's interesting to think how much more dynamic would this offense have been if Maclin was fully healthy, because he was clearly limited. In your opinion, watching Maclin for 16 games now, what kind of difference does that make in terms of dynamism of these guys and what they do?
It's what they, first of all, it's what they choose to do, right? They think they can do, but you should speak to it, Sam. I mean,
well, so the injuries were a big deal, right? But I also think that the way that this game played out, the Chiefs kind of had to be perfect for it to matter. You know, for them to win, their margin of error was like this. The Patriots was something like this. And to me, Maclin would have made a difference, of course. Houston would have made a difference, of course. I'm not convinced that Tamba is all the way back physically right now. But they still need to get better. Like, I think that even if the Chiefs, even if all those guys were healthy, there's still a gap between them and the Patriots. They're still, and that to me is what matters going forward, is closing that gap. They made undeniable progress this year. Not just with the 11th straight, but with that 11th straight, including, you know, the first playoff game in 8,028 days. But that's not going to be enough now next year. They need to keep this going, and that's what this is about, is remembering what happened here and closing that gap, not, you know, bragging about the 11th straight and letting that be that.
So, in that same vein, what is a successful season for next year?
I think a step further. You know, I think at least a step further. Yeah, I mean, because now, like, for so long it had been like, you haven't won a playoff game, you know, and some people would say, well, but we had a first round bye, it doesn't really matter. But now it's about getting to the next step, I think. And there's a lot that goes into that. Like Jeremy Maclin brought this up. He made the point about those injuries. Edelman, Gronk, those guys were able to rest. The Chiefs had to play last week, and that's when Maclin got hurt. You wonder if Houston didn't have to play last week, would he have been healthy right now? So some of that work, it's not just in this moment in the divisional round. Some of that work is done in, you know, July, August, September, you know, making sure that you're in the right position.
Interesting. And I'll say this, I kind of agree with you. I think for next year to be a success, you got to get to the AFC Championship game. The goal's been set already. You got to do what you got to improve on what you've done this year. And I'll also say this, you look at this team, they've had a great season no matter any way you slice it. They were 1-5, they were dead. We were doing these videos in front of trash cans. Now we're in New England in January. Okay, that's a step forward.
And it's cold.
And it's very cold. And I'll be wrapping this up quickly because my guys are cold. but let me remind you something else too. Very few champions come out of nowhere. Most champions in this league, you have a tough loss the year before, okay? The year before, you lose in January, and you learn how to win when it gets cold like this, and when the other teams are playing their best football. Champions are made in moments like this. You got to come back and learn how to do it. We'll see next year whether they really have taken the lesson from it, but this is a good thing for them. They'll learn from it, and Chiefs fans should be happy with this season. We'll have more coverage for you guys this week. I've got a bunch of stuff coming. We're going to do one more podcast with the A-Team. But we thank you guys for being along for the ride. For Sam, Blair, and Vahe, the end of a magical Chiefs season. We appreciate your viewership and readership, and we'll see you guys next season.
Great job by this guy right here. This guy.
Have a good
That's
one.
the man.
Thanks,
See
guys.
y'all.
Thanks.